Welcome to this third part of my video series showing how I'm making the carriage shed at Herculaneum Dock station on the old Liverpool Overhead Railway. And this is as far as I'd got at the end of part 2, and you can see here that I've got part of the viaduct structure which I've created to carry the Liverpool Overhead Railway, and I've brought in some extended width supports that I actually borrowed from, cloned from Pierhead, my model of Pierhead station. And I've got the basic structure here. Just to remind you, this is what I'm looking to reproduce, and this is perhaps the best photograph of it. But also looking at various videos online and elsewhere, there's also a very brief glimpse. This is from the online videos 1990, I think it was, Liverpool Overhead Railway video. And if I just play that, so we're coming from Dingle. Let's just go back to the photograph here. We're coming actually along this line over on the right here. I don't know if we can, down here, after going over the bridge. This is Grafton Street up the top here. This is the sort of cliff side with the entrance to the tunnel to Dingle station, and then the girder bridge, and then the viaduct curves around sharp. This was the extension that was added, and this is the end of the carriage shed. And you can see there it's the smaller and then a larger one behind. If I go back here, you can see the two there. So we're coming along this line here, back in the 50s and in the last year before its closure. And what I'm trying to do is to judge the type of window here. I think it's actually, looking again at it, I thought I could get away with a copy with using the same type of window as from Pierhead. And the reason why I thought that was because this was the original southern terminus. This was the original Herculaneum Dock station, built at the same time as Pierhead station, so I assumed that the windows would be the same, or they would look right there. But I'm now looking at it again here, and especially at the end here, before it breaks up into pixels, you can make out that I think you've got four across and 3 down. I think you've got 3 rows there, so I think we've got a dozen small window panes on all of these. So I'll have to change those windows, make different windows for it. But just to have a quick look at the video. So we're coming out of the tunnel mouth at the portal with Grafton Street directly above us. We're on the train heading towards Seaforth. And here we go. So the building I'm trying to model is directly in front. And if I pause it there, this is the lower part here, and the larger part is off to the left here. And you can see how sharp the viaduct curves round. And unfortunately it breaks there. It could have just done with just 1 second more. So if I bring it back, there we are. That's about the closest I'm going to get. And there's a blur there of the window, but they do look rectangular. They do look like they've got 4 across and 3 down. But the actual size of the window, which I was going to use, I think the overall size is correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick these ones up, which were just cloned from the first one on the right here, and I'm just going to delete those. And you'll also notice that this is in the wrong end. If this is the buffer's end, because it's got the wider end here for the larger shed, then this is in the wrong place. But that doesn't matter at this stage. I'm going to be using clones of this as well for various things. So I've got another odd window over there, which probably is going to get lost. So what do? Well, I know that this size of overall size of the window is pretty much what I want, and I mucked about with it a lot. And if I was to continue using it, the first thing I would have to do is to reset the X form, because if we look at it on the scaling, it shows 80, 100, 190. So I would definitely need to use this option here, reset X form. If we just do that, and you'll see that jumps to 100. So basically I've told Gmax to make that the a correct size and in relation to the exporting, because if I left it at 100, 190, when it came to the exporting, that would be distort. I'm not even sure it would export at all, but certainly there would be a problem with the exporting. Okay, so I've already got this window ready made, but it's going to be no good to me. So you've got to bite the bullet and get in there and make a new window. And so I'm going to use a spline, and it's the spline of the rectangle, and there we are. So I'm fairly close to the size, and let's have a look at the size. 3 foot 10.908 inches by 4 foot 9 by 771. Well, I don't like that one bit. To me that looks like 4 foot. That should be 4 foot by, let's have a look at 5 foot. Yes, I think 4 foot by 5 foot. And so that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to just move this one out of the way, and then I'm going to create a box, and it's going to be 4 foot by 5 foot. The reason for this will become clear, and I'm going to position it directly over my spline. And my next stage is to pick up the spline, the rectangle there, and give it a really contrasting colour, deep blue. There we are. But picking up the box, make sure you just read it there, what you've picked up. I'm going to edit it, and I want 3 down. There we are. And I want 4 across. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that's going to be, those are going to be my individual window frames. If we have a look here, I think they look a bit wider than that. They look more rectangular. So let's change this until we get a look that's similar. 3 foot 6 looks better. Definitely, that looks better. So my next step is to change that to 3 foot 6. And although it's less deep than the previous window, I think overall it's going to look better. It's going to look more like a thing. It's still a bit square. I wonder if I can just nudge that a little bit. If we make that 5 foot 6. Yes, I think that's an improvement. So I'll make this my, now remember my rectangle is actually going to be the basis of the window. The box is simply, I'm using that box which I've subdivided up automatically, and because I've divided it using the segments, then they're automatically in the correct place. That's automatically in the middle. That's a quarter of the way across, that's 3/4, a third up, 2/3 up. So it simplifies matters. Now the only other thing I need to do really is to produce another rectangle. So let's pick up the rectangle, there we are, and let's clone it. Clone, okay, and this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert it into an editable spline straight away. That gives me vertices that I can amend. And what I want to do here is to create one of the, oops, wrong direction, of course, is to create one of the inner panes of glass. And I'm refraining from more comments about this can be a bit of a pain. Well, you'd think I was, wouldn't you? So let's take that up to there. I'm just doing this by eye. It's the look of it that I'm concerned with. Does it look right? I think that does. The other aspect about this is I'm going to adjust these adjustment handles, not in that direction. I'm going to adjust these adjustment handles so that they don't overlap either each other or the opposite end points. In other words, that the handles controlling that point don't overlap this one here. So there, take that back. So that when you come to extrude it, that will prevent you from extruding it correctly, because information reliant on which the Gmax relies in order to in order to generate the export is confused by these overlapping controls relating to the individual vertices. Okay, so we got that, and let's colour that a different colour, and let's center to the object. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, again, just by eye, I'm going to take this over here, but this time I'm going to move it onto the line. Okay, I'm happy enough with that. Vertically, I'm not very happy with it. What I'm going to do there, I think, is I'm going to raise that. And lower this. So that's what one I'm happier with, so I'm going to delete that one. And I'll clone this one, move it across. So this is those sort of factory industrial type windows, multi-panes of glass, very common in the 19th century, when larger panes of glass, when they did become available, were quite expensive. And I'm just cloning these, and let's have a look. Okay, so I've got quite a bit of a gap there, and it's not the same either side. It's slightly narrower there, I think. So I'm working on that. I'm not working on this grid line, I'm working on this purpley line here. So again, I'm just aiming to do this by eye. What I could do is happily use my box. If I can get it up here, make it big enough. It doesn't matter about all the internal bits. Oh, for goodness sake. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's just do that once more. It's because it's so small when I'm creating it. It actually shows, before it disappears, there is more space to the right than to the left of that purple line. So you might think I'm just being an absolute pedant here, but I'm just going to move that a tad over. There we are. Right, so I'm now going to pick these up. Just holding down the control key to pick up those four, and cloning them again. I'm going to bring them down to that line there. No, I don't like it. I'm going to cancel that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to join all these. So I've got a group of four here. So I'm going to attach them together. Now they'll all be splines. You can see they're all editable splines, but it means now I can alter the lot. And actually what I want to do here is take this down a tad. Okay, let's try that. Center the pivot. This might seem like I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but the overall effect, I think, is, you know, it really does benefit from this bit of fiddling about. And although I'm not measuring, this is all just by eye, I think the effect will be okay. So now I'm just going to get rid of the box, pick up that first one, and then attach all the way down and the outer part, and that gives me, it's hidden in there at the moment, But now if I was to bring that to the fore, in fact let's bring that out a bit, so it's in there, bring it out, there we are, you can see it down here, and let's look at it, and you can see it's all just those lines. Now we're going to extrude it, and because I made sure that all those handles are in the right place, when it extrudes, and that's created extrusion, except that in other words, the faces are filled in front and back, but because it has zero amount, there's no depth to it. I'm going to take that out 2 inches. Right, and that's going to be my window, I think. Let's have a look away along. And I know I need 10 of them, so let's center them. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to save a bit of time by keeping a copy. Okay, and then I'm going to move in to in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a copy and hide it. Just get it out of the way, and here it is. Here is my original over here, looking at edge on, and I'm going to see how many polys it is at the moment. 252 polys. So I'm going to convert this one to an editable poly, which takes it down to 54, and in fact I'm going to reduce it even smaller than that. So let's go into the perspective view, and actually what I can do is I can hide that as well, get it out of the way for the moment. In the perspective view, and as you can see, I've still got to sort out these pieces. In the perspective view, let's have a look at the wireframe, get it so I can actually see it. That pattern track bed of all these curved pieces can be a real nuisance when you're trying to do work like this. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick up the outer faces, the outer polys, because those are going to be concealed within the window frame, which is what I'm going to make next. And if we go like this, come in a bit, and you can see that I'm identifying carefully, and make sure you are careful because it's easy to lose a polygon that you want to keep. Okay, so let's unhide everything, unhide all. Let's have a look in smooth and highlight. So we've got our other one over here, and I knew I would need it. So the first thing I want to do there is I'm going to extrude it. I'm going to copy it rather, but I'm going to then delete the extrude, and I'm going to eliminate these inner points in order to leave me with the outer rectangle complete. So let's just go along. So all those bits I put in the middle I'm taking out, and then I'm going to, got the spline, I've still got the, where are we? Yes, so what I want to do here is I want to clone it, okay, and I'm going to expand it by, first of all, by 5%, and because I've chosen that particular version, it's doing in all directions. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those directions up to 110, which is obviously the wrong one to do. It's maybe this one. I can never work it out. There we are, and that will give me my window frame. So my next step here will be to attach these together, and I'm going to give them a different colour. I tend to use really strong colours, different strong colours, and I'm going to extrude that by 4 inches. There we are. And let's have a look in the perspective view, and there's my window frame. So let's bring it back to the window, not to the one that's my safety one, as it were, my saved one, but take it back to here. Let's just have a look at this a bit more detail. So I've got my window frame extended, extruded by 4 inches, and there we are, and it should fit, and it does. And remember, because I took away those inner faces on the window frame, then it will mean that I've saved 4 polys basically. Because the window frame is 4 inches, in fact I think I want to make it 6 inches, I'm thinking again there, because I want it to stand proud of the side walls, and they're going to be 4 inches. So 2, 4, 6 makes it easy. Let's have a look top down. I can find it amongst all this mass. Here we are. So there we have the window frame and the window, but because both of them have the centres at the point of extrusion, I think. Oh no, that one doesn't. So I can now centre the window over the window frame, and that will give me a nice, you don't really see it because this is so bright at the moment, but that will be a real benefit. Now the only other thing I realised I should have done, keep forgetting to do things, but nevertheless it's quite straightforward to do, is and I can do it because I haven't yet converted my editable spline window frame into a poly. What I can do is I can take a clone of the window frame, remove the extrusion, so I'm just left with the vertices, and I'm going to take out the inner points, and that gives me the hole for lining up my windows. And I'm just going to centre that back. What is he talking about, you're thinking, but all will become clear. And what I need to do is, with that, is to give it a different colour. Let's give it another, I don't know, that's green, why not? And now I'm going to take this and make an array. That is, it's going to be a 2D array. There will be 10 of them, and I'm trying to recall now, I think it was -10. Let's try that. Hopefully it's going to go this way. Yes it is, and they're all in position. You can see there I've now made 10 of those all the way along the side of the, they're these ones here. I think that's pretty close. That's certainly close. It certainly gives the effect. Now the only other complication I've got here is I'm going to start using start mucking about with my extruded but not converted yet. I made sure not to do that. Let's centre that though, because I'm going to start using my that's actually got to go there, 50 to be more accurate. But I'm going to start using this now to create the components of the first part of the carriage shed. You might think, well, goodness me, surely you've already done that. Well, not quite. Take that back to 50, and what I want to do here is so I've got 2 of them now, is I want another rectangle. I'm just thinking about if I can use an extruded rectangle. No, what I need is another rectangle here. So I know it's got to be, it's the side wall, so I know it's got to be 50 feet, can't remember the height, so let's make sure. 100 feet, 1, 2 feet, sorry, 100 feet, it's centered at 50, so it's 99 feet, 10.215. That's the 100 feet. Let's take it down. And it's got to go from the bottom of this one to that there. That's where the curve begins. Let's zoom in a bit. First of all, let's colour this something else. It's a bit bright. Let's take about a sort of bilious colour. There we are. And at the moment it's just 8 foot high. I know I did measure this, but I've forgotten. Oh, I think I found a bit of paper away now. So we're still well short. Which one are we aiming for here? The lower one. That's where the curve begins. So 10 foot 2, let's try that. Basically all you're doing is nudging it up a bit. 10 foot 4. Mm, 10 foot 5. It's going to be 10 foot 6, isn't it? Just know it. No, it's not. Okay, so I'm not going to muck about expanding and reducing it anymore. All I'm going to do is pick it up, line it up on the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to convert it to an, well, let's position it correctly. Should be -50. I could see it wasn't correctly positioned there. And I'm going to convert it to an editable spline. I'm going to pick up the vertices at the top. I'm going to zoom in quick. That's Superman, faster than a speeding bullet. Zoom right in. Get it on top, exact position. There we are. So now we've got a rectangle for the side, and we've got all these green ones as well. So clicking away from it, just a quick look to make sure that our rectangle is in the same position. I think it's in the mid. Well, I can see from the Y there it's in the position there. So we need to have it at the same position as the window frames, and there it is now. I've lined it up. So looking at it in this perspective view, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the attach, and try and avoid attaching this, and before I can go any further with that, I want to hide my window, get that out of the way, and I want to hide the window frame. Hide, oops, that's the wrong one. Picked up the wrong one there. That's it. Hide that, and then select this again and attach the last one. There. And I said I was going to make this 4 inches, so let's extrude that. Not 100 feet. Let's extrude it by 4 inches. Okay. And center. Okay, that gives us that, and let's unhide all. That gives us our window frame. Now, just to show you that there's still more polys that we can save here. So what I'm going to do is I've saved polys around the edge of the window itself. There's the window frame. There's the side. Let's hide everything else. And there's quite a few polys I can save here, and I can do that quite quickly. I don't need the polys inside here because they are going to be concealed by the outer faces of the window frame. Let's have a look at it top down. Okay, so at the moment we've got the window and the window frames centered on each other, although I don't quite understand why I've got two different positions there. This surely is the window frame. I don't understand why this is standing out from that. I must have had some sort of variation in the in the points. So let's take away, that's going to be a 6-inch. Let's take away that. Yes, you can see there, these are not, they should be all exactly on the same line. So I'm not going to have that. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to there, make sure we're right in. Yep. Okay, and then we're going to extrude it. We're going to extrude it 6 inches back to 6 inches, and that looks okay. Let's just check our center line is still there. Yes, that is centered on it. And then this is our side, and we'll make sure we're centered on there. Okay, that's good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recenter the window frame. See, I must have clicked on the wrong thing. Cancel. So pick up the, there's our wall, there's our window frame, and the window frame needs to come this way a bit. So let's make sure I've got that, I picked up the right thing. There we are. See, just click. And then this one the same. There we are, behaving themselves. So now that's correctly positioned, and it means I've got the wall, I've got the larger window frame to give it a little bit of sense of depth. You know, it helps the sense of depth to have those different sizes. And then I've got the windows, no glass in it yet, but we're going to add that last. So what can I do to lose a lot of polys? Well, let's take the wall. This is the end on, and if you think about it, you don't need any polys on the end, on the bottom or the top, because that's going to be hidden by the roof, that's going to be hidden by the front, that's going to be hidden by the back, and that's going to be hidden by the bottom of the viaduct. And inside all of these faces inside the window, that is both the left, the bottom, the right and the top, are all going to be hidden by the window frame. So we've got a lot of polys there. So at the moment, let's reduce our side. It's 46 polys. I think I can get that down to 2, because I'm going to eliminate all the others apart from the faces, front and back. This is what I do, for example, with carriages. To pick up those polys that I don't need, I'm looking at the width, end on, and instead of if I went like that, I'd pick them all up. That's no good. I need all the ones. These two faces, the front and the back, the inside, the outside and the inside, are on the x coordinate. That is, they stretch along the x coordinate. All the others, these edges, thin bits here, they will stretch on the depth, the y coordinate. So if I just select all the faces up here, all the polygons that are on the y coordinate, like that, let's go down here and we'll see, and then I'm just going to hit the delete button in cold blood. There we are. So I've lost, we're down to 2 faces, the front, the outside and the inside, and all the rest, all the other faces were irrelevant, unnecessary, duplication. Right, at this point I'm now going to put all the windows in, but I need my textures, and the textures we've got at the moment that we need to use, because they relate to the viaduct. I don't think we need the station texture, but I think I can delete that. But we definitely need the sleeper and the rail, because that's what gives us, and the viaduct. So I need 2 more, and I did show you in number 1. So we'll have vertical planking, and that's that sort of dirty grey vertical planking. And let's have a look for the bitmap. It's got to be a TGA file. It'll be down here. It is, vertical planks. There it is. So we'll have that, and then we'll have another new one. and we just call it corrugated because that's going to be the roof. And I've already, in the first of these, I'd already got the corrugated and the vertical planking into the right folder. Okay, so there we are. And my first job is to put vertical planking on the sides. There we are. That was easy. Except of course it's not finished. Select the face. When you get this, if we were to go into editing, and I just left, that's just to show the face that I selected, and I did planar map, which you must do, it's going to be all up the left. That's quite literally. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to use our reset form. I'm hoping, having reset it, that this will now behave itself. Sometimes it doesn't, but it has, that you can see there. So if we look at the edit, and that's what we had, that's what we've now got. If this was a plain rectangle, I could just alter these individual points to the width I wanted, but because it's a complex image, I need to do this by eye. And these are quite big, so most of this sort of planking is about 4 to 6 inches wide, and if these are, what did we say, about 5 foot, then you need at least 10 of them to make it look right. And frankly, I think that's about it. That looks about right to me. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go any further than that, otherwise it really would look like matchsticks. And here's the other face. There we are. We're just looking at the one face. Remember, we've got that clip. I'm going to planar map it to make sure it's correct. Then I'm going to turn that off because the red one's the only one's selected. So once you get the tool, you can then put it on top of what you've already done, and you're pretty much consistent side to side, back to back. Okay, right. So now we want to do the window, and I'm just going to use the same texture but in a different way for the window. So my first my first bit is the glazing bars, and I'm going to use vertical planking. Okay, and there they are. But because I don't need so much detail, I just need an impression of a dark colour. I'm just going to shrink those right down and put them across a selection of polys. Of polys. There we are. And this the window frame, well, it's 32 at the moment. Let's collapse all that down, take it down to 10. What did we do with this? That's already knocked down to 50 because of all those. And again, vertical planking, but this time I'm going to use as darker. I'm going to take it right down in size, so I'm almost just hovering over 1 or 2 pixels of blackish. I'm not too worried if there's a bit of variation at this size. There we are, and that's what we're trying to come up with. So I think we're there. The only other thing to do now is to make more of them. So I'll pick up the window and I'll pick up the frame. I'll group them and make sure they're centered. And then we use the array, and it's already set to how I did it for the holes for the side walls. And I'm just going to click on OK, and there we are. There's our wall. The final thing to do is to bring in the glass, and I tend to use glass texture, which which I've used relentlessly in virtually every model I've made. And it's a slightly green tinged glass because older glass did have that look to it. So first of all, there's my glass TGA, there's the green tinge to it, you can see. Okay, and then I want to change the opacity, and I want to use a bitmap image for that. Come on. Ballast BMP, there it is. No, it isn't. There it is. Good. And then for this, it's a simple, I tend to use a rectangle, which I then just reduce to two faces. You could use a plane. I tend to use a rectangle because I give it a tiny little bit of depth. So let's make a rectangle, a box, and you don't have to be too precise about this, as long as it covers the window panes. And I don't need all these divisions, I only want one face. I want it an inch wide, 96 by, let's make it 4 foot. I think that's enough. What it's got to do is it's got to cover the windows, and I think we're okay. And then I want to position that at 50, so I know it's centered. And if we look here, it'll be way out. So allocate it. There it is now. It's gone to glass. I'll just unwrap it. There's the glass texture. And I'm going to do with this what I did with the wall. That is, I'm going to remove all the edges I don't need. In fact, the only thing about that is it's a foot wide, not an inch wide. So there we are. Let's take it down to an inch wide. Let's center it. But let's first of all eliminate. We've got 12 polys at the moment. So let's collapse it down to polys. And that takes us down to 6. And we can do better than that. We can take it down to 2. So let's zoom in a bit. Just carefully. Well, what I need to do, of course, is to select polygons. And then just gently pick those up and delete, and I'm left with just the front and back. If we look here and see, and what I'm going to do is center it again on the wall. There we are, and you'll see there that it's actually inside the window frames. So if we look a bit closely at the windows, you can't quite make it out, but I can assure you, well, actually I can show you, I can draw a box, and if I move that box closer, you can see here the difference in tone between the box colouring here and the box colouring through the window. You see the difference? That shows you that the glass is in place. Okay, that gives us our wall. Sometimes get these odd effects with the textures in GMAT. Shouldn't make any effect in trains. That's our wall. Let's group it, and let's bring in all of our odds and ends, some of which I'll be eliminating, and let's bring our wall. We can move it in and out. Let's move it up along to this position, and it's going to be at 50 feet. And let's have a look at the end. That's looking from the back. Now, because the wall is the same on each side, inside or outside, it doesn't really matter which side I put in. That's interesting. I've got a gap there. I wonder why that was. Oh well, happy days, more to do. And then we'll just pick up the group, and we're going to edit clone, and then move that clone over just by putting a minus in front of there to put it in the same place on the other side of the x0 coordinate there. Okay, that is strange. I should do that. All I'm doing here, I just want to see where the vertices are on this. I'm trying to work out why my wall is just that little bit short. Because I've positioned it to this one here, not to this one here. Also looking at it, I'm not precisely in the right place. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move it over straight away. And that 1210, yes, that looks more right, more correct. That is correct. And this one here needs to be 12, yeah, 99. So it's only 0.03 of an inch out. But it's still out. I think what I can do here, without too much hassle, is I can ungroup my wall, side wall, there it is, and if I look at the poly, now I think I can take that up without causing too many problems for the texture. And that height is 38934. So this one over here. Let's just hide that out of the way. Yes, so if I ungroup this one, 38934. Over here, and I just want to select this one, collapse that down, bring the, and it's that one there, 38934. What's that? It's about 0.3 of an inch. But either it's right or it's not. And if it ain't right, it won't look right. I'm just going to hide that one. So what I want to do there is just pick up that wall and group it, and pick up this wall and group it. And we're beginning to see, we're getting the beginnings here now of our Herculaneum carriage shed. It's beginning to look that sort of rather dull. Don't need that really. Certainly don't need that one or that one. These are the bits I brought in from Pierhead Station. Don't need that either. Because now I've got the walls and the windows, so I'm going to just use those for the longer one, for the bigger one as well. It's the same one. What I should have done a long time ago is save it, my second copy, and so save this as Herculaneum carriage sheds 1.1. Yes indeed, overwrite. And the only other thing I'm going to do now, I've still got 2 copies of this because I'm going to keep using this, is I'm going to take this one, let's hide everything else, and what I want are the internal and external polys of the roof. So let's just have a look, see where we are. We're in editable mesh, spline, we've edited the mesh, it's 52 at the moment. I'm going to collapse it all down to a poly, give it 16, and then I'm going to take away individual pulleys because I don't need them. Just want the roof. I know that's only taken away one side, so here we are, you can see. It actually took away the other side when I thought I hadn't picked anything up. We've got a couple here, that's the thickness of the walls. Yes. Yes, I'm hitting the delete key by the way. Can't see on the keyboard. Want that away? Yes. And we're left with the roof. Well, we are and we aren't. Because what we're left with is curved top and a flat bottom. So frankly, that's no good to us. Kill that off. Unhide all. Let's take another copy and start again. So let's take one over here. Doesn't really matter the position at this stage. Okay, let's hide everything else. Let's have a look here. I'm going to take out the extrude. I should just leave the spline. There we are. But I'm going to adjust the pivot. Okay, because the key that we want here is that curve. So let's have a look at the curve, see what we can do with that. Okay, so that curve, let's have a look at the vertices. We've only got two vertices there, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to make a curve with these two as well. So let's take that up. Basically I'm judging if the thickness looks about right. It's probably far too much, I've taken those. Take that one down. Just judging by eye, I'm not going to get all concerned about whether these two are matching precisely. Don't want to change that one, thank you. Got the wrong one. Probably a bit much there. So what we do is we'll take this one down a bit as well. So it looks, I'm just looking side to side to see that it works okay. Right, that looks alright. And the next thing I'm going to do is take these up. Yeah. First of all, I'm going to, even before I get that far, I'm going to alter these adjustment bits. Because we want to be able to extrude it okay. And let's take, sometimes it offers to weld these automatically for you. It's not going to this time because of these handles. I'll take that down. There's another one there. Take that up. This one here. There's that one. Right up. Now I think I can weld those together. Yep, they're okay. But I do want to take that in. I'm not going to adjust that, that gives me the curve. But I will take that one in as well. Okay, and I think what I want to do is actually lift these up slightly, so I might be adjusting my curves in a moment. Will it weld? Yes. Right, okay. No, that looks okay. And I'll take this up and do the same here. Just first of all, get those right down. Take them up. And you can see it's drawing a line further down. That's because of this. So you really need to get those handling indicators, whatever they're called, into the right place. Take this up. And this one we'll take down, and then we're going to pick up both of them, and then same here. I know this seems like a real drag, but it does save some really odd extrusion problems that you can get. Make sure we're in the right position. Take this down. There must be another one there. There it is. Take that one up. And we can get away with that. Okay, so what have we got? Let's have a look. I think we've got the roof, because what we do now is extrude it. There we are. And we'll unhide all, and we'll centre that, and we'll position it at 50 feet, and we'll put a texture on it, corrugated, going the wrong way. And so let's have a look at it without anything else there. Okay, so now, in order to get the texturing correct, I tend to go into wireframe. How many panels, polys have we got? Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is never very helpful. I'm not sure that's going to be suitable. I might have to redo the roof. I think the corrugated, it has got a degree of pointing in the one direction, facing in the one direction. Darker at the top. Well, I'm going to give it a go. See what we can do. First of all, let's planar it, and it's going the wrong way anyway. So rotate it 90 degrees. And right. So what I've got to do basically is I've got to bring, because there's 7, if I did all 7 faces, then it would go from light to dark over the far side. So in order to overcome that, I've got to put this bit at the top here in the middle, on the middle strip, and the 3 either side have got to start there and come down here. I think you'll see what I mean when I do it, as I do it. I'm not worried about the extension this way at the moment, because that's going to be very straightforward. So, but what I am going to do is I'm going to control absolute points. So I think that's going to be about 75. So I'm going to take this down to 0.25. This is 0, this is 1 up here. So, and then I put that at 0.5, and then I can put that at 0.75. No guarantee I've got this right, far from it. If I take this one, planar it, rotate it, and now what I'm trying to do here is 0.75, and then around here, and remember, because I'm going to be this, if I do these the same as these, going from left to right in that direction, I've got to flip it, I've got to reverse it longitudinally. You'll get that in a minute. So let's just rotate that round, and that's going to be, see, I've got darker here and I've got lighter there, so it's gone the wrong way, so I need to turn that back that way, and I'm going to make that 0. and this 1. That's these left and right sides, and then at the bottom make it 0, otherwise it starts rolling around the texture again. 0.25, and this one 0.5. What I'm hoping for is that it's going to not be too much of a rough shunt. Oh, it is, look at that. So let's flip it horizontally. There's still a real line there. That's no good. Don't like that at all. So what I'll do is I'll take this one and I'll raise it from 0.75 to 0.9. In other words, I'll take a smaller bit of the texture and stretch it across, and then this one, this will have to be 0.9 in order to join it, and then this can be 0.6 and this can be 0.3. So that's the easy one. This is the awkward one. Still a line. That's no good. Let's try 9.5. There's a band there now, but that's okay. I'm prepared to accept that, the look of it. And this one here we're going to alter to 0.6, and this one 0.3. Okay. It's not perfect, but it's much better than I originally thought it would go. Now we just pick up all of those in order to create the repeat along the roof of these corrugated strips. And the way we do that is we pick up what had been 1. Let's just make sure it's all at 1, make sure all this is at 0. And then let's make this way. Let's try and start off with 5. Okay, that's the next problem. This corrugated does not repeat. This texture is no good. So plainly I need a texture which does not make such a cronking mess of it. Let's see how much we would need to do. Let's try 8. It's far too repetitive. Let's bring in, let's just close that a minute and bring in, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it because it's too obviously a repetition all the way along. But what we do have there is the beginnings of the texture for the roof, and we brought the side in. I'm going to use this one still because I'm going to use that to make the bigger extension of the shed, the bigger section of the shed. So what I'm going to do after I've stopped this video is I'm going to find a better corrugated iron texture to use there, one that will repeat perfectly okay, a seamless texture, and I'll swap it over for that. And that will be the beginning of part 4. This is the end of part 3 of how I'm making the carriage sheds for Herculaneum station. And just remember, let's play a little bit of that video again. Great to see it, and thank you for everybody on YouTube who put it on. And here we are coming out of the tunnel, and there's Herculaneum bridge in front of us, which I've modelled, and there's the carriage shed that we're making in the gloom. There it is. That's the video is pointing across to there. And then the sequence breaks, and we're coming in then to Herculaneum Station, which itself is going to take a fair bit of modelling. So that's the end of this part 3, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. If you're making models, sometimes it's just the things which I do automatically which, you know, light the light bulb for you for when you're working. Sometimes you'll see things that I'm doing and you'll think, why is he doing that? That is absolutely ridiculous. That's a stupid way of doing it. I can do it much better. If you think that, if you've got some tips, let me know, because I'm very, very welcome. Really do welcome any tips for how I can speed things along or improve my model making in GMAX. So there we are. That's the end of part 3. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please leave me a thumbs up, leave a comment, leave a question, leave a tip, and please subscribe to my channel and look out for part 4.